Well, welcome to Speaking of Horses. I'm your host, Wayne Williams, and we're ready to go right here with some of the great stories from the horse industry. So join us as we get ready to go Speaking of Horses right here on this station. Well, hey, welcome to Speaking of Horses. Now, today on the show, we want to talk about an upcoming event. It's going to be the 150th anniversary of the Chisholm Trail. There's a lot of history there. And there's going to be a ceremonial cattle drive and a lot of things going on this Western Heritage Ride, as it's being called. And my guest right now is Tina Mae Weber. Now, Tina, tell us how you got involved with this.
Well, Wayne, it's one of those things that everybody has a bucket list, and this is just one more on my list to achieve. And so I contacted BJ Stone to participate in this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and it is a real cattle drive.
That's amazing. And they're driving Longhorns, right?
Yes, it's going to be some Longhorns, and we will be traveling from Toledo, Texas, and we're going all the way to Archer City, Texas, approximately 300 miles.
And now, the Chisholm Trail actually wound up in Oklahoma and Kansas. Is that not right?
That is correct. And once we get this one under our belt, we are looking at continuing it for Oklahoma next year, and then the following year, Kansas.
Because the deal behind the Chisholm Trail, and there's a lot of history, but when the cattle moving on the trail became a part of it, it was to get them to the railheads and up in Oklahoma and then up into Dodge City, Kansas, and that area was the goal, because that's where the railheads were.
Exactly.
So
this is the 150th anniversary of the Chisholm Trail.
Yeah, that's amazing. I've and everybody that has done much with horses, at least on the Western or the quote cowboy cowgirl side, have always had the dreams of the Chisholm Trail and then the old wagon train trails that moved out through there, the Santa Fe Trail, the Oregon Trail. But to actually drive some cattle and move along with it, that's going to be neat.
It is. It's going to be a lot of work, but it is going to be a chance of a lifetime. It's going to be, it's just going to be a great opportunity. And they're actually doing a film documentary on it.
Great. So now tell us how this is going to work, how you're going to gather and leave and people can ride along and camp on the trail and everything. Is that correct?
Exactly. It starts out in Toledo, Texas, at the 3C Cowboy Fellowship Church is where we're going to all meet. We're actually going to stay there for a week before we ever head out, and that's to get the horses, accustomed to the cattle and get to know each other, because this is going to be a first time for a lot of us that's actually working the trail to meet. And so we're going to stay there for a week before we ever, head out. And then once we start, we are going to travel approximately 15 miles a day. And then each time we're going to stop over. A lot of people are, staying over in their pump tents. We're going to try to keep this as real as possible. Everything pretty much original, leather saddles, and, they have a bedroll, canvas bedroll, and things like that to keep it more legit for the documentary. And it's just going to be such a neat thing to participate in.
Oh, I think so. And if you do it that way, keeping it like bedrolls, pup tents, those kind of things, rather than everybody in the big living quarters rigs moving, down the road.
Exactly.
It does keep it a lot more authentic, and you take with you what you can need, and you only need what you can carry. I guess that's the way it works out.
Well, and that's right. And what we're doing is we're actually, BJ Stone is the one that's really the trail boss of this whole thing and heading us off together. And she is going to have 10 wagons. And on those wagons, they're allowed 6 people per wagon. And then she's also allowed 50 single riders, which are called day riders. So we're going to have 110 max people each chuck wagon cooking, and so the meals are going to be provided. And it's just going to be a really neat thing. So people don't really have to worry about too much with food. It's part of the program, and they're going to be real magnificent on this ride.
Yeah. So if you carry your bedroll and a few of those things and light snacks and that, then you don't have to worry about carrying all your food and those kind of things. So you can travel pretty light and enjoy the ride.
Exactly.
And 15 miles a day. You said 15, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 15 miles a day is not going to be something that is really overtaxing. You're looking at about 4 hours on the saddle each day.
Well, about 4 to 5 hours. It depends. Remember, we're going to have cattle that we're driving. And,
well, that's true. That's true.
Things can happen, and yeah.
You're probably looking at 5.
You're
probably looking at 5 by moving the cattle, because you'll be held up from time to time. That's true. I was just thinking about how long it would take, like my wife and I, to do 15 miles on a trail, but we weren't moving cattle, obviously. And that's, and the other thing is, and this is something that I'll relate a quick story. Years ago, they were doing a ceremonial cattle drive in Genoa City, Wisconsin, which is right on the Illinois border. And they opened this thing up. It was only going to drive them like 3 miles from a farm into town for some pioneer days. There was 350 people with horses showed up for this cattle drive.
Wow.
Everybody wanted to be a part of it, all right? So what you had a lot of novices. You had people on horses that had never been around cattle. And we nicknamed it later the Great Genoa City Cattle Chase. It really wasn't a drive. Actually, out of the 20 or 30 head that they started to move into town, there's 2 or 3 they never found. So,
that's a scary thought.
Well, when the cattle came out of the gate, and all these novice riders on horses that were more afraid of the cattle than anything, it was like a shotgun blast right off the bat, and the cattle scattered because the horses were scattering. So it was quite a deal. The way you're going to do it, by limiting the riders to a select few, and I'm sure you'll have better control over the longhorns, and you're not going to have 300 people out there doing this. So it's going to be quite the authentic thing, and you're not going to have near the problem with uneducated horses and or riders being around the cattle.
Right, and well, even in the beginning, this starts March 13th, and that first week is for those to come in and get the horses acclimated to the cattle, because not all horses, can deal with that at first. It's a little scary for them. So she's got an application that people fill out, and before she has the crew, she is going through and making sure that they somewhat know what they're doing. She's very...
Yeah, that week before is a great thing. See, what we were involved with is everybody just showed up, and then
right, and then we've got people that are going to join the ride, and not everybody is going to. The horses aren't going to be calm and collected with the cattle, and there's going to be a lot of commotion. There's 10 wagons, there's cattle. We're going down. There's towns we've got to go through and everything, and some of the people that will be joining us, they're going to be behind the cattle, and
right.
So that we don't want any injuries or anything else like that. So we're just going to kind of scope out people and find out where they're best suited, and just be careful.
Well, yeah, you put your skilled people up around the cattle, and the people that aren't so skilled or haven't really done it, or like if it was me back there, I would say, just let me bring up the rear. I don't need the hassle of finding out something I don't know right now. Okay.
Right. We don't want any surprise entertainment on the cattle drive.
I'm looking for a nice, polite way to put that, but yes.
Exactly.
There's
what an opportunity.
Yeah, fantastic.
She has opened this up. Oh yes. I mean, for people that want to do what we call day riders, it's $35 per person. to join this historic event.
And you get your meals.
And yes, and the meals are included. If they want to stay a week, it's $140 for the week, and if they want to stay the month, it's $500 a month. So, I mean, it's a very affordable chance of a lifetime for people to actually participate in a cattle drive.
Oh,
a
yeah.
real one.
Yeah. So, Tina, you're going to be on it, I assume.
Yes, I am.
I am going to be following this with Speaking of Horses, both radio that we're on now and the Speaking of Horses TV. We're going to do some filming. You did send me the contact information for the people in Texas. I will be doing an interview in a week or 2 or 3 with them and getting that out. So there's a lot of those things coming, and we're going to keep everybody posted on this because, you know, if you've got a horse and you want to be a part of history, why, this is a chance to do it.
Absolutely. And they can also go to the website, which is www.westernheritagecattledrive.com.
Okay, westernheritagecattledrive.com, and all the information is there as well, right?
Yes.
Well, it sounds great, and I look forward to more interviews for radio and also to filming excerpts of this for TV shows. So I look forward to doing a lot with this and keeping people posted. So, Tina, of course, you know, you at one time had your own radio show, so you're a pro at this.
I don't know about that.
But really appreciate you taking a moment to talk to us and keeping us filled in on this, because we're airing this show in January and people have time to react to getting involved with it in March. We appreciate it, Tina.
Well, thank you, Wayne, for having me.
And again, it's westernheritagecattledrive.com?
Yes.
Very good. Tina, thank you.
Thank you. Have a fantastic day, Wayne.
And the rest of you, stay tuned. You're here on Speaking of Horses. Well, that's our show. I'm your host, Wayne Williams. Speaking of Horses, we'll be back next week with a brand new show. Or join us at speakingofhorses.com.